is week 5 of our CSA season, and in your boxes this week we have a whole bunch of stuff. It's almost too much to fit in the boxes even. So, for starters, this is, it's called Siberian kale, pretty similar to the other 2 kinds of kale you've already gotten, just a little bit of a different texture and flavor and different look. Next up is fennel. This is fennel. We are almost certainly not going to have space in the boxes to keep the greens on, so yours will probably look more like this, just the bulb part. So if you see something that looks like this but doesn't have all this green stuff, it's still your fennel. And strawberries again, almost certainly the last week. Nice head of cauliflower. And a big bunch of garlic scapes. They all are kind of coming at once, so you're getting a whole bunch. With this many, I would recommend garlic scape pesto. It's really tasty and a good way to use these all up, otherwise I don't know what you're going to do with them. And we have a nice head of broccoli this week, and one thing I want to mention about the broccoli is that the stem is, it's totally edible, and some people think is actually the better tasting part of the plant, even more so than the florets. But you may have noticed that the stems on our broccoli tend to be fairly tough on the outside, but that's really pretty easy to deal with. If you look at it straight on from the bottom, you can kind of see a little ring around the outside where the peel is, and it's pretty easy to take off if you just kind of catch the inside of that ring with a knife and pull. It kind of just peels that outer cover off, and then you just have a nice soft stem underneath that you can cook up. So keep that in mind and don't just throw your stems away. This is a head of lettuce. It's a little bit different than the other heads you've gotten in that it is what's called multi-leaf lettuce. So rather than forming a compact single head in the middle, this has a whole bunch of little leaves. So if you cut the stem off, it should just fall apart into basically a bunch of little salad leaves. And you'll have a couple of cucumbers. We have 2 kind of categories of cucumbers. These are slicers. The shorter ones are pickling cucumbers. They are kind of bred to be better for pickles, but they're still fine just to eat like a regular cucumber. So if you get some of those and you want to just throw them in a refrigerator pickle or a regular pickle, go for it. Otherwise, don't worry about just eating them as they are. Green kohlrabi. This is another thing that almost certainly will not have the leaves on it in your boxes because we don't have space for them. So it'll be in there just without the greens. And summer squash, green zucchini, yellow zucchini are the 2 that I have with me. But as I mentioned last week, it might be one of 5 or 6 different varieties. We have the first of the beets this week, and we're going to try to leave the greens on. The greens are totally edible, and they're a lot like Swiss chard. I actually think they're better than chard, so if we can keep them on there, we will, and don't just throw them away if you get them. And we have some radishes. These are kind of a different kind. They're obviously long and skinny, and they're kind of French style radish. And finally we have snap peas. These are totally edible, the whole pod. You can eat the whole thing. They're kind of nicer to eat if you pull the strings off. They have a string that runs down basically what look like the seams on the pod on either side, mostly on the top. And they're pretty easy to pull off. You just kind of grab the stem and pull it. I'm going to pull it towards me so it's like against the long direction of the pea, and you can see that string coming off the top. And then I'll do the same thing on the other end, and if there is a string on the bottom, that would come off there too. So again, that's just grab the stem end, pull it toward me again, string. Pick up the other end, a little bit of string there, and that's all there is to it. So, nice big box of stuff this week, and hopefully we can get it all to fit. And we'll see you next week.